Firstly, just I think our readers down here in Australia would be interested to know just like what an average day in the life of a Premier League manager is actually like. So can you just give us the brief overview of like what you might be doing today, starting with what time the alarm clock goes off?
Yeah, of course. So a general day, today's a longer day, so it's a good day to actually use. Not every day's like this, but today's a long day. So I get up about 7:15. I'm not far from the training ground anyway, because I live in the area. Get in for probably 10 to 8. Have a coffee on the way. I've got a big flavoured mouth for Starbucks, so that's a daily event. That's part of my routine. Get in, go to the gym, do half an hour in the gym usually. Get a quick shower or whatever, get some breakfast. Staff meeting at 9 o'clock. We train at 11 o'clock, so it's plenty of time. We do a staff meeting and like a roll call, a fit list as I call it, with the doctor and the medical team. And then we'd look out, planning out the session. I mean, we normally have a theme by then, or maybe tactical plan by then, but we've got to wait and see how many players we've got and who's fit, etc. Today, being 2 days before a game, would be a lesser load, but more tactical information. And then lunch, and then team meeting, and then I'm here doing the media. And then I'll go back to the training ground and do some individual prep work with my staff on varying players that we think need some individual prep. Not all for today, but I mean plan some stuff out. And then really just making sure that the medics have told us that everyone goes home fit today and they're all okay. And then it'll be varying meetings with whoever it might be, phone meetings with a director of football, or, there's all sorts of different meetings going on. And then usually it can be anything between 4:30 and 6:37, on a day. Well, this day particularly, so this is quite a long day. But usually the same routine or very similar routine, usually get away by about 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock. But today's normally a longer day, so today it could be 5:30, 6, 7, whatever is needed.
Media duty is always a highlight, obviously, of the day.
Of course, especially this, of course.
100%. Quickly on that, I'm sure some managers just see it as a chore, something to get out of the way, but you seem to quite enjoy interactions with the press at times and have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's getting more difficult because, after the event, people just put clickbait out there, and it's no one's fault. It's the way of the world. So I'm not blaming any of the media outlets. Everyone wants more hits. Everyone wants more, less depth and quicker for the hits. So that can be tricky because you try and have a bit of fun and not fun in a way of, let me describe it better. It's a very serious industry. What I do is very serious. People know that I work very seriously with the players, and I'm serious about my job. But that doesn't mean you can't have a bit of fun with it and a bit of dry banter and a bit of, playfulness. And sometimes most people see it. And unfortunately, there's always someone out there who wants to try and make a reverse story of the moment and sell it differently. And that's the way it goes. But I prefer to just be authentically myself. And I like to work with a smile. I like my players to play with a smile. So therefore, I just try and, as you say, have a bit of fun with it when I can. And if it's appropriate, of course.
It is a highly pressurised job. How do you find a bit of balance in your life? A lot of pressure on fans living and breathing on each result. How do you deal with that pressure and I guess find releases outside the job?
Yeah, I think you get used to it over the years. I've been doing it a long time. Plus I was an ex-player. I mean, it's changed now. The social media platforms, the media intensity is much more difficult. Locally, it's quite a funny one, actually, speaking of having a bit of fun. I was telling the media the other week, apparently I'm in every pub. Every pub's my local, apparently, as you can imagine, around Nottingham, every person. Actually, I was in Dubai recently for the international break, just for a few days. I was at the golf there, and a fella from Nottingham, it absolutely insisted, bear in mind, this is where it does get interesting, absolutely insisted that his pub was my local, and I did let him know that I'd been in there once in all my time in Nottingham. So I lived there from 87 to 94, and I've lived here for 4 years now. So I've been in there once, and he insisted that I'm in there every week. So I get a bit of that, which can be interesting. But yeah, most people have fun with it though. They don't mean any harm, but it is that kind of, that nature that when the Premier League's so big, and because I live in the area, people do want that familiarity of saying, oh yeah, I know him, and I'm thinking, no you don't. Or he drinks down my pub, and I'm like, no you don't. But anyway, In answer to your question, I do like a beer. I love curries and Indian food, so I like that mixture. A few beers and a curry, that's brilliant in my world. But in the better weather, I like a game of golf, and I like watching other sports. I love going to gigs, so I watch a lot of bands. I mean, I've had to calm that down for the moment, more because of time, by the way, not because of people. People are very good, when I see fans at gigs now, they're brilliant because they want to enjoy their night as well as I do. But more because of the workload of it, we've got loads of games coming and all that. So, yeah, so pretty general stuff, a bit of, my kids now, they're older, so when I can see them, I see them. My son plays as well, so he plays for Northampton Town in Division 1. So I try and see him if I can, in between times. And yeah, and trying to shoehorn life into, or my life, my own private life, trying to shoehorn it in around the job, which is very difficult at times.
With Ange Postecoglou's time at the club, down here in Australia, there was suddenly a huge spotlight on Nottingham Forest, of course, so plenty of new Aussie fans getting on board. So I just wanted to know, why would you encourage Aussie fans to stick with Nottingham Forest? How did you find the state of the club when you did replace Ange?
Well, if Ange started a new way of thinking and spreading the word over there, that's fantastic for the club. The club want worldwide fans, of course. I would think about encouraging them to stick with it is the history of this club. It's got a big history, of course, and the main famous figure being Brian Clough. And fans alone, it's worth Googling a few of his interviews now, because they are fun. He was a natural comedian, although he probably wouldn't admit to it. And he was a bit of a genius as well. So, yeah, but bringing them up to speed. I mean, at the end of the day, the club's turned into a very recognised Premier League club. Obviously a challenge going on this season compared to the last couple, although the first season they were, down there and had to fight their way through it. And that's often the case in the Premier League when you're new to it. So, yeah, there's a lot of depth in the history of it. There's a lot of connection with that. And then if Ange just highlighted that and more people have got on, we certainly want to keep them fans, and we hope they remain as Nottingham Forest fans. And I'm sure some of them probably are not just because of Ange. They probably realised that at some point Ange's time had come where he wasn't the manager. Like, that happens to us all. And then as regards to the club, I mean, there was no question of the club being in good shape or anything. I trust all managers. They just do it in their style. I've just got a different way of working, that's all. But I'm certainly not questioning any manager. Every manager will have their own way of working, their own style of training and, prep. And we have ours. So we're just mainly focusing on our style of doing things.
That challenge of coming in during the season, bit of a unique one. I guess every manager would love a whole off-season, pre-season to go about it. How did you face that challenge of dealing with it on the road?
I've done it 3 times. I did it Burnley when I went in there, did it Everton when I went in there, and I've done it here. So, I mean, I suppose that gives me something to reflect on, that when you've got to go in during the season. Yeah, I mean, getting them to work, this has been more challenging in the sense there have been 2 previous managers, not one. So, the players had adapted one way, then adapted the other way, and then I come in and they have to adapt again. So that's more of a challenge. And the players have been terrific with doing so, because I don't think that's easy. It sounds easy for maybe fans to think, well, they should just get on with it, but it's not that easy. You've got different ways of working, different training schedules, different different performance markers, and physical performance markers and all these things. So there is a lot of adjustment, and I think the players have done very well with that.
I'm actually a Kiwi, so a big Chris Wood fan, so you've got me as a fan. How's he doing? Having coached against him as well, like, what sort of challenges does he present for an opposition when they're doing their scouting report?
Well, I actually signed him at Burnley, so I had a number of years with him. Yeah. So I know him quite well, and I think he's matured as a player, even more so than then. He did very well for me as a player, but he's matured as a player. I think he's a more rounded professional. His understanding of the game, and I think he's a very good player. And I think he just broke your record, didn't he, for the Kiwis being the most capped player? Yeah, which is fantastic. All credit to him. Yeah. So we're looking forward to having him back. He's not quite there yet, but he's making good progress.
Skinny jeans or flare jeans? Last one.
As I said in the interview, my daughter says bad jeans anyway, Dad.
Very good. Thanks so much for your time, mate.
Cheers.